This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hi, and welcome to the Glazov gang. Jamie Glazov couldn't be here tonight, but I'm Daniel Greenfield, and I'll be filling in for him tonight. And I'll be talking to Nonie Darwish, who is the author of The Devil We Don't Know. She's a longtime activist, a committed and passionate fighter against jihad and Islamic terrorism, who has really explored these topics, and we're going to discuss some of these topics tonight with her. In a recent article you wrote, we're approaching a new year. You wrote an article called My New Year Wish List for America. It's up at Pat McGellar's site. She's an amazing author. You're also an amazing activist. And you wrote there something that's very interesting. You wrote that the word racist is now being used in a very similar way to the word kafir, to the word infidel, to silence people, to suppress people, and to shut them up. Could you elaborate on this?
Yeah, I feel that America has used and abused that word racist. And they always imply that only certain group of people in America are capable of being racist. Being a racist is something that can happen to any group of people, anybody, and it's not restricted to white people or black people or Middle Eastern people or Asians or anybody. And it's very offensive. It's a very offensive word. And it's a cruel word, a cruel expression that should never be used by citizens against other citizens in a civilized setting. And I've noticed that it's becoming just like the normal language in America. And it hurts me to hear people use it as an aggressive expression, like a sword almost, or as a defense so they don't expose other discussions that could be sensitive to some people. And it's very important that we become more honest with each other and we respect each other as all Americans.
That's very true. So in a way, it's kind of like blasphemy. The accusation of racism has become like the blasphemy in the United States, the way that it's blasphemous in the Muslim world to say that you don't have a right to say this, you don't have a right to exist. It nullifies somebody's identity.
Exactly. I mean, the worst thing in America you could do is worse than murder is being a racist. People's careers are destroyed. People's livelihood is destroyed, their reputation, their families, over this word racist. And it reminds me of exactly the same thing I grew up with, which is calling a journalist, for instance, he's an apostate. In the Middle East, if a journalist is called an apostate, they get killed sometimes. In America, they get fired, they get destroyed. So it's very similar.
It is, and it's curious now because Islamic groups are very much exploiting racism. They're exploiting claims of racism, even though Islam obviously is a belief system, it's not a race. But they find it very convenient to say that anybody who is critical of Islam is a racist, even though you're critical of an idea, not of a inbred characteristic in a group of people.
Yeah, they call you racist. And I am a Middle Eastern. How can I be a racist against my race? I mean, it doesn't make sense. They call me then Islamophobe. And a phobia is illogical fear. And Daniel, I am afraid of Islam and Islamic law. And you know why? Because under Islamic law, I'm supposed to be killed now. If I cannot visit any majority Muslim country. And it's not because I am phobic. This is such an insult for me to be called phobic, because it's not a phobia, because if I put my foot in any Muslim country, I will be killed, and whoever kills me is going to become an Islamic hero. And the legal system is on their side, not on my side. And the same people who call me Islamophobe ignore my right to live. And they want to give the benefit of the doubt to an ideology that has clear legal system that kills apostates. It's written all over. The Sharia books of Islam are full of condemnation of Muslims to be killed. They actually give them 3 days to take it back or be killed. And they can be killed in the most inhumane and violent way. One of them is burning. So for some Americans to accuse me of being an Islamophobe is so unjust, it's so insensitive, and it's so cruel. That just like the people whom they accused of being racist, I feel I'm a victim of these expressions, of being called an Islamophobe.
The interesting thing about the accusation of Islamophobia now is that you have groups like the Muslim Brotherhood who use it even against other Muslims, so it's become very much the equivalent of an apostate. For example, the Muslim Brotherhood will accuse the Egyptian government, which is Muslim, of being Islamophobic. That obviously makes no sense in the sense that you can't accuse Muslims of being Islamophobic, but it makes sense in the sense that you're accusing them of being apostates, you're accusing them of being heretics, you're accusing them of being infidels.
Well, Islam unfortunately turned everybody against each other. It's an ideology that causes chaos because it doesn't promote trust between people in society. Everybody in the Muslim world calls everybody else an apostate. Shiites call Sunnis apostates and Sunnis call Shiites apostates. Within Sunnis, if anybody does not follow the rules completely of Sharia, anybody can condemn them as apostate. And there is a law in Sharia that actually gives the right for anybody, any Muslim on the street, to do murder, and they are forgiven if they kill an apostate. So you have people in jails in the Middle East because somebody said that they insulted Muhammad or they are no longer Muslims. So these are expressions. The word apostate is worse than murder in the Middle East. People are so scared of being called an apostate. And that's why some Christian Egyptians that I know sometimes cover their heads and walk in the streets so they are left alone. So this is the tyranny that life under Islam is such a tyranny that how dare the people on the left in America to call me an Islamophobe. This is so hurtful, not only for me, but many of the people who left Islam are speaking out. I'm not the only one. There's quite a few of us who are under constant attack. It's very discouraging, and especially if an American calls you that. They should know better. I mean, if an Arab or a Muslim calls me Islamophobe, I can understand they've been indoctrinated all their lives. But for a leftist American on a college campus who call themselves freedom-loving Americans, and they see me speak about that I am on a death threat, and they call me names. This is really discouraging.
It is. It ties into something else that you mentioned in your article. You closed your article with your New Year's wishes for America by saying that you wish that American children were taught more patriotism. Obviously, they aren't. You've experienced that certainly on college campuses. One of the striking things about our enemies, the people who are trying to kill us, whether it's ISIS or groups like that, or the Muslim Brotherhood, is that they tend to be very highly motivated. They believe in themselves and their cause absolutely, and they've been able to recruit even Americans, Europeans, who come to be convinced by their certainty that they are right because they haven't been given that certainty at home. Do you really feel that this is one of the reasons that we failed to fight and defeat Islamic terrorism?
Absolutely, there are many reasons why we are failing to fight Islamic terrorism, and we're not winning. Right now, we're not winning. And simply because the West is no longer proud of its culture, its freedoms. It's apologizing to the whole world. We have bred several generations in America who believe that America owes the world an apology. Children in schools are encouraged not to salute the flag, or they're giving the right to choose to whether or not to be patriotic. And it's just that is making children are very susceptible to the input of adults. They're very, very so most of the reaction of American kids that is anti-American is really a reflection of what they are taught. And it's really sad to see American children practically apologizing to everybody for being Americans, and we are breeding a whole generation who's ready to hand over America on a silver platter to other cultures because they're apologizing for their own culture. And I wonder if the day will come when someday in the future, in 20, 30, 40 years, we'll have that generation will be ruling America, and they might very much forget about the Constitution and accept Sharia law or any other more wonderful law that we Americans don't deserve. Our Constitution is not that good, we are telling them.
That's very true, and it's a reminder of how much work we all have to do. And you've done your part by going to college campuses, by writing, and by speaking out. Thank you very much for joining us on the Glazov Gang.
Thank you so much. Daniel, I admire you, and I appreciate your work very much, and thank you very much.
Thank you for being on. Your work is an inspiration, and let's hope you can accomplish even more in the new year. To those who want to see more episodes like this, go to the Jamie Glazov Gang website on YouTube, go to the jamieglazoff.com and subscribe today.